Hello and welcome to a Reddit story video. I hope you enjoy these stories about entitled people acting like the world owes them everything. Cousin abandoned my niece at my house while I was camping. Over the week, my husband and I went on a camping trip before summer season with its glorious warm weather was officially over. We weren't at home and had no cell reception where we were. We left Thursday, September 7th and returned on Monday, September 11th. While we were away, my cousin left my niece still strapped to her car seat outside my house door on Friday, September 8th, and sent me some text messages. Remember, I had no cell reception where I was camping. I would never have known while I was gone. I saw the missed messages after I returned home. It wasn't a request to ask if I can help her. It was simply a message notifying me that she left my niece in front of my door along with a bag with her stuff for the weekend. She did not ask me beforehand if I could help her babysit. There was no possible way for me to know. Even if I knew, I would have still declined unless it was a medical emergency in the family and they had no other choice. I live in a rural area where everyone is on 30-acre plots of land, so no one knew my niece was there. I had no clue. The neighbors had no clue. My niece was literally abandoned in front of my door until Saturday noon when my parents came by to drop off my parcels that were delivered to their house. That's when they saw my niece. My parents called my aunt and had her come pick her up. I can only assume that my parents, my aunt and my grandmother scolded my cousin for leaving my niece at my door. When I got home, all I saw was the initial text message telling me that my niece was dropped off at my place. Then a string of very rude text messages and voice messages from my cousin calling me irresponsible for leaving my niece outside and endangering her. Because what if the coyotes in my area attacked the helpless infant? I'm just so frustrated. My mom stole my life from me, but now, I'm stronger than ever. I was 19 and pretty sheltered from the harsh reality of life. We weren't wealthy but weren't poor either. I have a twin, a little brother and a little sister. It all started in 2021, halfway through my college year and pretty happy. Growing up, I looked at my mom and dad as if they were my superheroes, but the further into 2021 we got the more that changed. My mom and dad had broke up early in the year, which I assume was the catalyst for all this. My dad became homeless and my mom turned to drugs, but I didn't know that at the time. Although they had broken up, my dad still crashed at the house every few nights to see all of us, which was nice because it didn't feel right not having him around. One night, when he was staying round, he found a bag of powder in the bathroom and went through to speak to my mom because he was concerned it was one of his kids taking it. The blame was placed on me, which I defended myself convincingly as I had an ensuite bathroom which I exclusively used. Then the blame was passed to my twin, which my dad then butted in and blamed her as he felt she would just keep passing the blame round everyone. She beat him pillar to post. After that my dad never entered the house, whether out of shame of getting beat up by his ex-wife or guilt of causing her to turn to drugs, I don't know. All I know is that I no longer felt safe in the house. My twin didn't either, as a few days later, he moved in with my gran. During the next few weeks, my mom was in the house less and less, preferring to go out than stay in and look after her own children. As the oldest, I felt it was my responsibility to look after my siblings, which I did. To make sure they got everything they needed for school, I had to drop out of college and get a job to pay the bills, feed and clothe my siblings. After doing this for a few months, my mom showed back up at the door while I was at work. My sister was off school ill and let her in. She told her that it was me that told her to leave and locked her out the house and was on drugs. Fed her lies about myself, which inevitably turned her against me. When I got home, I was surprised that my mom was in and took her to the kitchen to demand where she had been. My sister attacked me while my mom watched. At that moment I understood why my dad didn't hit back. He loved her. I loved my sister and didn't want to cause her harm, even though I was feeling her fists thump across my jaw. Once she stopped, I was told to leave. After everything I had done to try protect my little brother and sister from living a horrible life, they had been corrupted by my own mother against me. I slept under bridges for weeks, until she called me out the blue and said she had to talk to me. I approached her cautiously, sat down and asked her why after all this time she wanted to talk. She told that she was struggling to pay bills, so I should take the money out of my trust fund and give it to her. I was angry. I took off out of the house, and that was the last I heard from her. From then, I got my own flat, a great paying job and a dog that has become my best friend. Still working on the great girlfriend part, it's just happened again, and I'm rather irritated, but I'll do my best to put it into words here. My mother has some very confusing and backwards expectations for me, and they usually end up contradicting each other. And when they contradict each other, I'm supposed to just magically guess the right answer. She expects, or perhaps demands, that I look after the younger children, all under the age of 10, mind you. Many of my days off from work are spent babysitting. When someone gets hurt or there are fights between the children, she gets extremely angry at me for not doing a good job, rather than the children themselves for acting like that. She will insist that I need to be watching them more closely. On the other hand, though, if I try to correct the children's behavior in any way, telling them that hitting is bad, or whatever else, she gets equally angry and demands that I don't get to parent her kids, or that I should stay in my place. She even told me once that I am not, nor will I ever be an equal to her. First of all, good, great. I would never want to be anything like her, but second of all? Pick a freaking lane? Do you want me to watch your children closely and protect them from all harm, or do you want me to step aside and let you do your job, often from another room with the TV at full volume and a phone jammed in your face? Either way, I've tried taking a more laid-back approach, and letting natural selection do its thing. There have been a lot more broken toys, loud fights, and even gasp, mild ouchies, as a direct result of her wound goblins being on their absolute worst behavior and treating the furniture, or sometimes each other, like a jungle gym. Sadly, today, I felt like I really had to say something. One child ended up on top of another and was mere milliseconds away from punching their sibling. Our mom walked in after I had separated them and began explaining why hitting is bad for the millionth time, and she got mad at me, not either child, for daring to undermine her parenting. So I did something that I don't often do, as I know that it doesn't help anything. I said whatever dude, and walked away. I'm probably looking at a fun lecture about respect or some such tripe later on, or perhaps she'll give me the silent treatment, and I'll be rid of her nagging for a day, but I don't really care. I'm just tired of feeling like I can never get on her good side. It's almost like that side of her doesn't exist for me. Even her husband, our dad, whom she also treats poorly, will get the occasional cuddles, movie nights, or showers of affection. But what do I get? Honestly? I'll let you know when I find out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. Consider subscribing if you would like to see similar videos in the future, and please enjoy one of my other videos.